My name is Rabbi Yitz Jacobs with HLA, and welcome back to my series describing the Kabbalistic energies involved in counting the Omer. The second energy, which is developed in week 2 of the Omer, is called Gevurah, translated as restraint or might. While Chesed, last week's energy, which is expansive life energy giving, is the building block of the entire creation, there's a downside to too much chesed. Without other elements to balance it out, too much expansive life energy can overpower everyone else around you. Let's imagine, if you can, a person having a manic episode. They're full of passion and excitement to contribute, to give, to make a difference. But in their zeal to help, they invade and overpower all of the people around them. Let me take care of you. Let me protect you from that. Let me push you. Let me drive your life in the right direction. Well, the people in their lives, they need a certain amount of emotional breathing space to be their own people and to make their own decisions. Their zeal feels exhausting and overwhelming. That's where Gevurah comes in. Gevurah is the ability to hold back and limit this expansive energy in order to give only the ideal amount, to give in a way that is felt by others as truly loving and kind. For example, Chesed can be compared to the power that comes directly from the electric power plant. It's buzzing along. The wires are going at 400,000 or more volts. But our toasters and TVs can only use about 110. Wow. The piece of equipment that reduces the voltage so it's no longer overpowering is called the transformer. Gevurah is the transformer for the expansive chesed energy. It reduces the chesed energy until it's useful and appropriate, rather than overpowering and disruptive. In today's attribute, we are flexing the muscle of Gevurah, the ability to focus our expansive, passionate energy. And we really want to give this muscle a good workout. We want to strengthen it, because sometimes we need our Gevurah to hold back our passions. And it's got to be strong enough to do that. It's not easy to hold back our life energy and its passions, drives, and desires. That's why Gevurah is also translated as might. It's the ability to do what's appropriate, even when we feel an intrinsic drive or passion to do something or anything else. Imagine desiring to go to the beach while you haven't yet finished your report. What do? Do you keep writing? This might, this character trait, when applied to the self, is also called self-discipline. And research has shown that most successful people exhibit this character trait of self-discipline. So let me give you a story to illustrate this character attribute. One day, my son asked me if he could have the keys to drive my car. I told him, I would love to give them to you. It would feel great because I love you and I want you to be happy. But I have to follow my conscience and say no. My son threw a huge fit. He wouldn't let it go. He asks me again and again, and it was starting to wear me down. Luckily, even though that would have been the path of least resistance to give in, I resisted that impulse. He demanded to know why, and I told him, it's because you're only 10 years old. I can't wait to give you these keys someday. It would be my absolute pleasure. But if I gave them to you now, you would only injure yourself and other people. This is definitely an example of holding back for the sake of chesed, for the sake of love. So let's do a meditation. For the next few moments, I invite you to please close your eyes. Imagine that you are a drop of water in the ocean. Feel yourself connected to the entire ocean and notice that while you're connected to this huge body of water, you don't have any individual boundaries that define where you start and where you end. You just flow and separate and reform again and again. Try to feel for a sense of individuality. Can you? Now, imagine being taken out of the ocean, suspended in mid-air. Notice you can now feel where you begin and where you end. You can measure exactly how much water you contain and the exact color and temperature and even its salinity. Feel the sense of individual identity that comes from having boundaries, separation, and meditate on the sense of individual identity that came into being after there was separation and distance from the whole. Notice you can now feel where you begin and where you end. You can measure exactly how much water you contain and the exact color, temperature, and even the salinity. Feel the sense of individual identity that comes from having a boundary. And now take a few moments to meditate on the sense of individual identity that you can experience that came from separation and distance from the whole. You can now open your eyes, and please don't forget to look below. I have some questions and a challenge for the day. See you tomorrow.